Okay, so I put together a little quick review here of exercise 2 out of chapter 6, and I am going to just kind of review some of those. I know a lot of people had problems with this, so let me run through it. I'm not going to have quite enough time here. I'm limited about 15 minutes, but I'll try and do as much of the exercise as possible here. Okay, so first part of this exercise, I've pulled this up here. We're asked to concatenate these two names together, so we want to put this so it's last name, comma, space, then first name. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to insert a row or a column here, excuse me, and I'll use the concatenate command. So I'll say equals concatenate, and then I choose I'm going to put last name, okay, here, and then a comma, and then I'm going to put now I want a comma to show up in the actual final product here, so I'll put that in quotation marks. I'll put a comma and then a space, and I'll end that quotation marks, and I'll combine that piece of text, so I get the last name, a piece of text that's going to be a comma and a space, and then my third piece of text here is going to be their first name, which is found in cell B3. And when all these, whoops, do I have B3? I'm sorry, I was wrong, B4. And these are all relative references. So I'll hit enter there, and I'll take a quick look at that, make sure it did what I want it to do, and it did. And now I'll just use my fill handle and I'll pull down through that, and we'll do a copy and paste there. Okay, so that's done. Now what I need to do is I got this kind of data here I really don't need anymore, so let me get rid of this. Do I have anything there? Let's get rid of this column here, so I'll delete that. Whoops, that doesn't work. See, I have an issue there. Okay, as soon as I do that, I lose this information. Okay, and I know that was a sore spot for some folks here, so I'll undo that. Control Z is undo. I'm going to take all this information now. I'm going to do this with it. I'm going to copy it, and I can paste it wherever I want. I'm going to paste it right here because I don't need this information anymore. But when I paste it, I'm going to use a paste special here where I'm just going to paste the values rather than the formulas, the values. Okay, so all those drop down there. And when I do that now, I don't need this information anymore. So I'll delete this column, delete. And I don't need this anymore, so I'll delete this column. And then I got the information I wanted using the concatenation command. You can see my result right up here. Okay, so there's one. Next, I got this data right here that's all lumped together into one cell, and I want to go ahead and distribute that across the various tests here. I do have a delimiting character. Delimiting character is a comma. So I go up over here, I say data. I go over here, move text to columns. All right, and I need to have some way of separating these, and these are all separated. They can be fixed length, but I have a delimiting character, which is the comma. I go to next, I choose comma instead of tab, I get rid of that, and I finish this off. Okay, so there we go. We got our information in a place where we can actually start working with it now. My next task, I got to calculate some averages here. Oh, actually, there's kind of a wacky thing that they asked you to do. They ask you to suppress the zeros. Okay, I'll show you how to do that, and then I'm going to show you kind of a workaround that your author does in its place. If I go up here to Excel options, and somewhere I think it's under advanced here, I start cruising through this, and I find general. Where do we got that here? Here we go. Display options for this worksheet. Show a zero in cells that have zero value. I can turn that off. I'll click OK, and you see it suppresses those. They're still there, but you don't have to look at them. So that the whole term suppress, I was a little confused when I went through this. I'm going to unsuppress those, and I'm going to follow what your author, your textbook did. And how did I find this? Well, sometimes you get stuck on this stuff. If you look into help, F1 is help. That's one way to find it. Sometimes Googling, if you need to Google it. Sometimes your textbook, actually your textbook should have information like this. Here's what your author does. Deletes these. Okay, well that's interesting. So what we could do is we could do let's be a little more elegant about that. So I have this replace zeros, and I'm going to suppress them where I don't have anything in there. So I'm going to do these one by one. So I'll say find next. Oh, that doesn't work, does it? Alright. Well, that's an idea that we can utilize, but isn't there a 0 and 90? And so that's going to cause us issues there too. So let's close that off, and here's maybe a way to work around this right now. Get rid of the darn things. Now if you did this with the zeros in there, that's okay. because there's more complex equations we can work with there. But that suppresses my zeros and allows me to go on to the next exercise. Next exercise here, what I need to do is I need to create, and really it's going to be a conditional here. I got two different things going. One, if we got 5 grades like I show here, I need to drop the lowest one. The only way we're going to be able to do that is with the min function. Okay, so let me show you how I wrote that here. Okay, so I'll say equals averaging. What do? You find a sum, and then you divide it by 5 in this case. All right, so what we'll need to do here is we'll find a sum. I'm going to start by putting this in parentheses here. I'll say sum of what? All these guys, right? And I subtract from that the lowest grade. How do you find the lowest grade? Min. Okay, of all these guys, right? And then what do I want to do? Why do you do that calculation first? So I'll remember my order operations, and I'll divide that by 4. Okay, 83.75. Okay, that seems to be correct. All right, but I'm going to have other cases here, like this particular one. I don't drop a grade here. Okay, so I find to actually find accurate average here, I'm going to find a sum of all these and just divide it by 4. So here's what I came up with for a formula. So I went in and I started with that, and then I put a conditional on the end of this, where I said if, okay, what? If the count of these guys is equal to 5, then drop the lowest one. Otherwise, do what? Well, sum them up. Divide it by 4. Okay, because there is no lowest. Find a sum divided by 4. Hit enter there, that's 83.5, and I'll drag it down now. See if I come up with the right values. Looks correct. I could check that. If I check it, I pull my calculator in there. What do I do here? I do 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 80 divided by 4. Whoops. Divide that by 4. Is that right? Let's try that again. 90 plus 90 plus work the calculator right. Okay, 90 times 3 is 270 plus 80 more equals 350 divided by 4. Boy, that was tough, huh? There you go. Okay, so work the calculator right. We find out that that works just right. We could check some of those. So I always do some little checking here. I could use my spreadsheet to do that, or else I could use something more sophisticated. Okay, now here's another little elaboration on this problem. Okay, I got this individual here, and we're going to look at grading here. So if you get a what is it, 80 or higher, you get a B. So with that criteria, this person doesn't have an 80 or higher. Okay, but at a 79.75, they should probably get a B. So we use another function here called round. Let me show you that one. So we say round, and then we say the number we want to round, right? And then we show how many digits we want to show past the decimal point. I'm going to show 0 here. Okay, and again, that's a relative reference. Drag that down. Okay, so now I got my 88% there. Okay, so that works. Let me run over to the next column here, and I got to calculate a grade. Okay, and then a rank go along with that grade. Okay, so here we use something that we learned in an earlier lesson here, where we have this nice table. We need to do a vertical lookup on this table to actually assess the grade here. Okay, so let me do that here. Do it quite quickly. I'm going to say equals. I'm going to do my lookup. All right, and I want to look up this value right here, my rounded value. And then my table, where's my table at? Well, it's way down here. So here's my grading table. Okay. Now put our comma in there, and then my column that has that is going to be the second column, has the actual grade, and I'll end that. Okay, so there's my vertical lookup, and it appears to work all right. All right, so it should be 84. That works out to be a B. And so we do a vertical lookup. We compare it with this table. We say the right value we want to display is in that second column, and boom, that's up and working. Okay, so I did make a mistake here. I'm going to drop this down here. Maybe some of you already knew what I made for a mistake here, but all of a sudden here I start running into problems, and I look back at my work here. What I do is I don't have any absolute references in here, and my table is an absolute reference. So I'm going to go in here, F4 changes that to an absolute reference, or I can throw some dollar signs in there. Okay, so I changed that, and of course not going to change there because it works, but it will change the rest of these. Okay, so all's fine and dandy. That works well now. You can go back and review this if you need to, but it looks like everything works great except for I get here to this person and they're not getting a letter grade, they're getting pass-fail. Okay, so my equation isn't correct here yet. Okay, so I need to go in here and I need to come up with some sort of logic to identify whether or not they're getting a pass-fail or whether they're getting a letter grade. Alright, so again I use a conditional here. So I'll leave this in here and just edit this. I'll say if we want this, here's where my value is going to be. So if this says what? Yes? Okay, if that's the case, then I'm going to do what? I have I have to figure out some logic for this. Otherwise, I'll do my vertical lookup. Okay, so I got my, if it's no, I'm going to do that, but I need to come up with some logic here. So what do I need to figure out here? Well, I got another, actually I'm going to nest a conditional inside here too. So I'll say if, because these are all conditionals, if what? So if this grade is, what do we want to say here? If it's greater than or equal to, and we'll go down and look at greater than or equal what? Well, what's a passing grade? It's 65. Here's 65. Okay, if that's true, then do what? Pass. And if they don't have that, then what are we going to do? Well, they're going to get an F. Okay, so now I've got a conditional inside of a conditional. You'll have to maybe take some time and examine this. That should come up with my proper solution. Again, I'm going to change this right now rather than spend more time with this, but this should be an absolute reference, isn't it? Always looking at 65 here, so I'll change that. And then boom. Okay, so hopefully that, I'm going to drag that down here and we'll see if my logic works. And of course it does. So here we got somebody who's pass-fail. The rounded grade's an 80, and of course they're going to pass. Here's somebody that's got a 62, and they're pass-fail, and they're going to fail. Okay? So last thing I'll show you here, I'm just about out of time here. I'm going to show you how to do rank. I'll say rank. And in my, what do I need to compare here? Well, I'm going to compare their average, and I'm going to use this one right here, okay, because it's more accurate than my rounded. And now I got to identify my my range of values I'm going to rank. So I'm going to say rank this person based upon where they sit with their peers here, and so this person's ranked around 7th, and that might be about right. And I'll just fix this before I make the mistake again. I got to use an absolute reference. Okay, good. And I'll click and drag this down now, and hopefully I did this correctly. And I got a 1 here. That looks accurate for 1. Let's see where 15 is. 15 had a 61.5, and then 16 has a 52.5. So it looks kind of correct there, and we could do some more time analyzing and making sure this is right. So anyways, give you a start on this. I'm going to ask ask you to maybe take a look at this and see if you can find your errors in this particular problem.